Good morning, sunshines. Where the heck doodity darn did this storm come from? Maybe you're not from Colorado, so you're like, what is she talking about? So we might not be talking about the physical storm that I'm about to talk about, but we are talking about storms. So just keep listening because it's not about the weather. It's about the storm in your life. Anyhow, so I wake up this morning here in Colorado and I go to the gym early. My husband has to leave early for work today. So I'm just going to take this quick 45-minute class. It's a little bit cold on the way, but it's beautiful. When I got in the car this morning, my air conditioner was still on from yesterday. We had the windows down. It was gorgeous. Like, yeah. And I have to like turn back on the heat because I'm like, oh, it's a little bit chilly, right? No big deal. Go to my class, get done, and I walk outside and I'm blasted by the snow. And I'm like, where the hell did the storm come from? Like what just happened? And I mean, thank goodness I was wearing my boots because it was a Pilates class. So they just went with the outfit. Let's just be honest. I was not prepping for the storm because I didn't know it was coming. I had no idea that it was coming. I didn't like check the weather or try to do some due diligence to see like what was coming next. But sometimes there's storms in life you have no idea that they're coming. You cannot predict that. You have no idea, right? So I get out to my car and I wish that I could pause this. Thanks, buddy. Can you please go back downstairs with Daddy? Yeah, I know. Remember how Mommy said she's going to do a live video? Can you give me 5 minutes? Please go back downstairs with Daddy. I love you so much. He is down there, babe. I don't know where he is. He's right downstairs. Just walk downstairs. You'll see him. He's downstairs in the office. But you can't prep for some things. You just can't prep for some things. So I get to my car and, like I do the thing where you open it up and you slam it like 5 times to try to get the snow off the windshield and then get in. And of course, now you're on a snow covered seat because that's what happens. And look around for my snow brush or whatever that's called, your scraper. And of course, it's not in there. Have I prepped for the storm? No, I have not prepped. I did not know it was coming. Yesterday, it was beautiful out. I had the windows down and the air conditioner on. Why would I have the scraper brush in my car? Why would I be prepped for a storm when I don't think there's a storm coming? So of course, just do the good old fashioned. By the way, we're going to tie this into your life in a second. So stick with me here. Okay. So I do the good old fashioned, just turn on the windshield wipers and like a foot, I'm not kidding you, a foot and a half of snow is like moving across my windshield. I'm rolling down the windows and rolling them back up. Could I have gotten out and like used my arm and froze my arm off? Of course. Did I want to? No. So I did these old fashioned tricks, right? It worked. It worked. I got visibility at some point. So then I start driving. I start traversing the storm. Right now, I wasn't prepped for it, but it's here. I can't make the snow go away. It's here. So now I'm driving through the storm. And first I run over a curb. I'm not going to lie. If you guys were at Lifetime this morning, you probably saw me because it's way wicked slippery because it was so warm yesterday that the roads are warm that now everything's super slippery, which sometimes in our lives, like when life's really good and the bad hits, like you're just off, you're just thrown off, and then you're up on a curb driving over it. I apologize, don't worry, nobody was hurt. It was just me and my car. And then I get to the first intersection to go out and turn left, and the light turns yellow. And I'm way far back. Of course, I'm going to be able to stop. I'm in a Suburban with 4-wheel drive. It's going to be able to stop. My car cannot stop. I casually slide all the way into the intersection on a red and have to keep going, hoping that the other people are driving with care, because if they are not, they are going to plow into me because my vehicle is not going where it should go, right? So now I'm driving through the storm, trying to kind of like get my wits about me. And I see this other car just like, and it's a tiny sedan, and it just zips past me. It has no regard for the storm. It has no idea. And later on, I'm truthfully going to say, like, I did see it like swerving side to side, realizing it had to like slow down because they didn't understand the storm that they were entering and they were upon. And this is my morning so far. And as I'm driving, I'm thinking about this and the storms of our lives. So now we apply to everyone. The storm of your life, right? When do you wake up? The day before was beautiful. By the way, this happens to all of us, okay? The day before it was gorgeous. It was sunshiny. Everything was right. Your world just seemed wonderful. Your health, your relationships, everything was going great. And you wake up one morning and there is this storm that came out of nowhere. It's all of a sudden here and you cannot make it go away. My question is, are you prepared for the storm? Of course, you guys, the greatest analogy and comparison that I can have in this conversation is, that day where we walked into the hospital. We've taken this trip to Mexico. My daughter just graduated from high school, and my businesses are doing great. Life is great. And then all of a sudden we get the cancer diagnosis for my baby. Was I prepared for that storm? And number one, I don't know how you ever prepare for something like that, how you ever fully prepare for something like that. But was I prepared in every way possible? Did I have my snow scraper in the car at that time? What does that mean to me? The first thing for preparation for a storm of life to me is gratitude. Had I been practicing with gratitude? Did I have gratitude in my pocket to be able to pull from in that moment? It's funny, actually, in my reading this morning, I was looking at, using gratitude as a magical tool through adversity and challenges. And I didn't even really put that together, that in this time, years after reading that book, there I am in a time of a great storm, and I had the tool of gratitude in my pocket. If you're not practicing it on a regular basis, if you're not practicing it on a day when your air conditioning's on and the windows are down and the sunshine is out and things are beautiful, when you walk out of the gym and there's a foot of snow on your car, when the storm has hit, how are you going to be prepared if you haven't been utilizing the tool before? So, preparation for your storm, are you utilizing gratitude on a regular basis? The second one I have on here is shavasana. Have you been practicing your shavasana? Okay, Cal, what the hell shavasana? I don't do yoga. I don't know what that means. It's where like, generally what you would think of as like at the end of the practice is where you just like lay there for maybe a minute and you're like, maybe this could be over pretty soon. I can get out of here. But that's not truly what it is. It is the ability to find your calm amidst a storm. It's the ability, like in a yoga practice, right? Like all your muscles are hurt and you're tired and you're just challenging yourself. And then you're supposed to like plop down in the middle of that and just lay there and be like, oh, right? What? And it's an incredible practice. And when you find that you are doing things to enable yourself to find your peace and calm amidst a storm, and that's why you use yoga as a practice, because you can physically challenge yourself into that. You don't want to put yourself into a state of emotional turmoil over and over again. But when it happens, can you find your calm? When we're in there, and we're at the hospital for a week, when I thought I was going for a couple hours, and we get this diagnosis, am I able to find my calm? There was a point where when Witten was I think he was doing his first scans, and it was a couple hours, and I literally laid in the waiting room in a meditative shavasana pose and just found my calm. I had to. That was the tool that I had in my pocket to traverse this storm that I was going through. The next one they have is community. When a storm hits your life, if you've hid from the community, if you've hid from building a group of humans around you with love and kindness and support, it's going to be a challenging road. Let me tell you what. And you can think that right now. You're like, man, I've cut everybody out. I am the bridge burner. I don't like the way you do that. I don't like the way you do that. I don't like this. And because you're not doing it the way I would do it, you guys are all out and I can do this on my own. I am a lone ranger. I don't need the support from anyone. I got this. And when we take on, and I know it can feel very empowering in the moment, but when we take that on and we push everybody else away, you don't have the support when you need it. Life is about giving and taking, this symbiotic relationship of us going back and forth energetically between people. And when we're in this good space and we can give and we can provide and we can, be there for others, and other times where we need that in return, building a community around you is a huge thing. Are you doing that right now? Do you have that tool in your tool belt? And you're not just doing it because, like, oh, just in case I need you, my car breaks down on the side of the road during the snowstorm and somebody's got to come pick me up. I mean, that's not why you do it. That would be a result, but you do it because you're coming from a space of that gratitude, that attitude, that kindness, that joy, and people start to show up for you. When you're operating in that sort of way, people show up in your world. I didn't tie this back when I talked about gratitude for number one. Gratitude creates your attitude. We understand that, right? You meet somebody who doesn't have a grateful personality, their attitude will reflect it. They're going to be bitching and moaning and whining, and they're going to be talking crap about so and this person, and how things aren't right in their world because they're not grateful, and it's just unattractive. It creates a bad attitude, and people don't want to be around that. And your community suffers because of that. So third tool, if you're preparing for that storm that you don't know when it's going to come because you weren't watching the weather, and even if you were, it wasn't on the weather app today. Sometimes there's no way to know that it's coming. But in preparation, we've done our gratitude, we found our shavasana, we have our community. The next one is your self-care. This is really important right now and always. But are you taking time to love on you? To take care of your body, to take care of your mind, to nourish yourself well, to find rest. And I get that when you're in certain chapters, you don't have the liberty to do that. Boy, oh boy, do I get that. But most of us, through most chapters, we can make some different decisions to take a little bit better care of ourselves. We can skip this and do that. We can skip the late night binge watching, and we could take a bath and find some high vibrational music to just calm to. So take little examples of your self-care, because when you're doing that, when the storm hits, you might not be in a space of being able to focus on your self-care very much. I mean, I didn't, after Witten's diagnosis, I don't know, I worked out 20 times the next year and a half. I don't know what I ate aside from drinking my tea in the morning, nourishing me. Just, I couldn't get a grasp on it. I'm so grateful that I had been nourishing my mind and my body for the years leading up to that point, because I kind of like, I needed to be like ready to fight, right? I had to have my armor on, my healthy armor, to protect myself as I went into a different phase. So your self-care. And then I have one more for today. And there's a bunch of different ways you can prepare, you guys, but this is just, I think, a great starting list of 5 things, 5 ways that you can make sure that you're showing up for yourself so that when things do occur, you're ready for it. Is learning the tool of visualization, so that you can remember and acknowledge that what you think becomes. The way you see it up in your mind is the way it will eventually be before your eyes. And when you have the focal point and a visualization of constant agony, sorrow, worry, fear, worst case scenario occurring, you're probably going to see a lot of that show up just in your normal life too. But when you're in a state of storm just came in, storm just landed, you just walked out of the gym and there's a foot of snow on top of your car, and you're in that point of needing to see the bright at the end of the tunnel so that you can traverse this path. If you haven't done that in the past, visualization can be super challenging. So I encourage you just to practice these different things. In terms of visualization, you could see just see one area of your life. Maybe it's your mindset health. Let's do that, because we're talking about mindset health right now, right? Your mental health. And you see that a year from now, you are happily and excitingly reading a book every single month, and you're journaling in the mornings, and you just have a great attitude walking through life. And you just look at yourself a year from now doing those things. That's what visualization is. And you take a few minutes, maybe 5 minutes, 10 minutes, and you go through this little like dreamland. You just make you just make it up. It's like you're a child, make believe. And it's a great way to practice those things. So now we've talked about the storm hit. We didn't know that it was coming, right? How prepared were we? Do you have your snow brush in the car? And then just to tie it in with the guy that just like zoomed right past me, I'm sliding through an intersection, right? Well, actually, let me back that up. I'm sliding through the intersection. First, I drive over a curb, and then I'm sliding through an intersection. Like when the storm hits, traversing it at first can be like overwhelmingly challenging. Like you're like, what the F am I doing? I don't even know what I'm doing. I am like, this is a mess. But then by the time I was, 5 minutes into my drive. And let's just say for you, that's 5 months into your drive or 5 years into your drive, and you're traversing this new area of your world, it gets a little bit easier. You realize I have to go a little bit slower. I have to maneuver things a little bit slower. I have to operate with a little bit more care, right? I've got to have a little bit more awareness of my surroundings. And that's the same when a storm hits our lives. You do start to move slower. You are more aware. You are more present because you have to be. But I want to tell you that because it gets easier. At first, you might be in like robot mode. You do not even know what's happening. You're still in the state of shock from the news that you received about X, Y, or Z, whatever that storm is in your world. But eventually you start to realize how you can delicately traverse, and then eventually strongly and feeling a sense of empowerment, move through whatever's going on for you. Final thing that I was going to say, okay, the guy that like zipped past me in the car on my ride, and it was like, does he even know there's a storm here? Does he even realize it? Because one, even though you're in middle of a storm, sometimes you guys, like other people, they don't see that for you. They don't know what you're going through. And that's okay. They're not in your storm. They don't have to be. They might be in another chapter of their life that is just like they're all rainbow sunshine and unicorns. They get to be, let them be there. They're providing the world with a positive, strong energy. Let them be in that space. And it was really hard for me. I remember the first time I went to Costco after my son's diagnosis. And I know what a weird memory, right? But it's the first time I left the house without him. I don't know how many months it had been. But I was looking around and I was so mystified by all of these humans just going shopping. What were they doing? Buying groceries, laughing with their family, just like doing their own lives, just like normal, like nothing had happened, like my child didn't have cancer. And my mind was like it was so confused. It was like, I don't understand what's happening. And I had to spend some time with that and really ground myself in like, I don't want my chapter to be anybody else's chapter. I get to be the one that grows from this. Our family gets to be the ones that grow from this. Let them be in their unicorn and rainbow chapter and offer the world light, because someday they're going to need my unicorn light that's going to come back. That's how we do it. This like this give and take of everybody, right? So that guy at first, right? The first point of that is that he's in his own world. He doesn't see that storm, and that's okay. That's okay. And when we are, the other piece of it could be like another meaning is that sometimes you fly so quickly into a storm and you disregard it. This is going to be a totally different meaning. Okay. You disregard it. There's signs. There's all sorts of signs. The snow starts coming down. The other cars are driving slow. People are operating with caution. And you're just like, what, you have balls to the wall. I'm still just going through this. And sometimes that can lead to a pretty big crash. So, not in other people's world. I'm not trying to say like be in their storm. In your own world, when you're seeing the different signs, just slow down. Have things been like maybe pointing at you? Like a great example for this has been in my like injuries, when I feel like God had the message for me to slow down. And first I had my ankle surgery. I had like all these different injuries continuing to like hit at me. And I wasn't listening. I was like, I see the storm. You're trying to tell me that there is God, but I'm just going to keep driving incredibly fast right directly into this. And I'm not going to slow down. I'm going to keep doing what I do. And eventually he was like, I shall throw a shelf at your head and you will have a concussion and TBI for a year, where things have to slow down. Like the storm it is going to hit. You think you can run from a cow, but you can't. And the lesson from that I learned is just to be more aware, slow down a bit. Just look left and right. Are there some shifts that I might need to make? And so sometimes we just don't know. Like we don't know that we're driving quickly into the storm. We're just doing it, and that's okay. That's the path that we're supposed to take. So don't beat yourself about any of that. I don't, about my journey. That's how it was supposed to happen. But it does offer me some insight on how to operate in the future. So today, when the storm just showed up out of nowhere, when you go to the gym and one day your windows are down and the air conditioning's on and the sunshine is out and the vitamin D is hitting your skin and you're like, yes. And then you pop into a quick 45-minute class and you come outside and everything has dumped everywhere. I want to remind you, you're going to be okay. I hope that you maybe decide to take on some of the preparation tools. Maybe put your snow brush in the car. Find your gratitude, your shavasana, your community, your self-care, your visualization. If you can start to take some of those on, it's going to make the storm a little bit easier. But if your storm just hit and you didn't, it's okay. You can still start those things now. You can roll the windows up and down and do the windshield wiper back and forth, and you're going to make it through. It might be a little bit more challenging, but if you choose to use the tools and embrace them now, you're going to get through it. You might run over some curbs, a couple of them. You might just go blow through an intersection because you can't stop. That's okay. That's okay. You're going to get better at it. It's going to get easier. With time, you will learn more, and you are going to come to the reality that this is just a chapter. Whatever you're going through, whatever storm has hit or hit once or does hit, it's just a chapter. And when you get out on the other side, you're going to be stronger. You will. You'll be stronger. And you're going to be a better human, because if you choose to step into it, if you choose to step into embracing it and deciding to become. I'm not saying that people don't get hit with adversity and they wallow up and they just hide and they're done. They run from it. But I hope, and you're here, you're watching this. I believe that you're someone who's going to step into the growth. Say thank you for the storm. Thank you for this beautiful storm that's around me. Thank you for the growth that it's going to give me. Thank you for the energy and vitality that will return, that I will have. Thank you for the relationships that I am going to build while going through this. Thank you for the gratitude and the way my heart is going to open, and the kindness that I'm going to, show up in even a bigger way than I did before towards others. You're going to get through it. You're going to be fine. You're going to be better than fine. You're going to be effing badass. You are. So, little bit of encouragement today. I love you guys. Whatever storm you are in, you are loved. People are praying for you. You have light shining into you in this moment, and it is doing immense, beautiful work in your soul and your heart and in all the people around you. So hang on, a new chapter is coming, I promise. A new chapter is coming. All right? Okay. I love you guys. Just remember, perspective reveals miracles, and we shall talk to you later.